All right. Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, October 10th, 6:31 p.m. And this is a meeting of the Bolton Advisory Committee. Okay, a couple items on the agenda. So first up, at the end of our fiscal year that just ended, FY23, I put together a little assessment to try to get a handle on how we did in budgeting for FY23. So I just wanted to share that with everyone and have a little bit of discussion. So let me share my screen here.
I may need to turn that on. Hang on one sec. Okay, give that a try.
Okay, yep, that's looking good. Okay, everyone see that?
Yep.
Okay, so what I did was took the actuals that were spent through FY23 and just compared them to what we had budgeted for FY23. And let me show you what I came up with here. So here I took all of the budget groups and I just sorted them by this is by total value, and on the left are those that we budgeted excess funds for, and then going over to the right are those that we ended up with a deficit. We didn't budget enough. And so this is just a whole list of everything, and I'll drill down into some of the ones that were highest in excess or highest in deficit. But you know, for the most part across the board, the vast majority of these departments and budget items, I think we hit it pretty close. I mean, we were, you know, within about $5,000. And then there were a few outliers, and we'll talk about those.
It might be interesting to see these as a percentage of the line item.
Yep, and so I did that too. First I went through by value, and then I did it by percentage because I had the same question. Okay, so these are the top that where we budgeted an excess amount, and I only captured the ones that were more than $10,000. Less than that, I figured it was close enough. So the biggest one is police department. We budgeted about 1.6 million. We ended up spending about 1.5 million. So we had budgeted about $100,000 extra. And that was primarily because wages and overtime ended up being less than anticipated. And, you know, that's the sort of thing that I don't know that we can predict any better. So, you know, I think it ended up being what it ended up being. I'm not sure we would do anything differently going forward. And so in FY24, we increased that line a little bit, but it certainly seems within reason. And DPW is a similar story. Budgeted 900,000, spent about 800,000. And that was primarily because wages and overtime and also the repairs line item were less than anticipated. The next one.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
When they do come in, we should find out, was the budget incorrect, or did they, you know, were they short-staffed? You know, maybe, I don't know.
Right.
Just find out the reason.
Was it a slow year or something?
Right.
And didn't need any overtime? Yeah.
Or maybe like they didn't have the capability, because I don't know what falls under the highways. If that's a maintain of our road, there's a lot of potholes and everything else around the town that hasn't been fixed. If they didn't have the capability to spend or cover all the projects, that's what I think we should check with them, because it's not like they can't be like, oh, all the roads are fixed. We all know that's not true. So if they had that one, I get the police department one, but the highway one, I don't understand, because that's really excessive.
Yeah, you know, we can certainly ask. I think that's sort of also leads into the next item, which I think also is worth digging into a little bit, is the construction and maintenance line, which had you know, about $50,000 extra, $46,000 of which was in the local improvements line item. So I think when we're going through this in next winter, it's probably worth asking about is there more that could have been done? Health insurance, we budgeted an extra 43,000, and that's just a straight assessment. We estimate what it's going to be, and we end up paying what they assess. So I'm not sure there's anything we could do differently there. The advisory reserve fund. So we ended up with about $43,000 that we didn't need last year. And then in FY24, we actually decreased that amount to 100,000. So, we'll probably hit it pretty close.
I thought advisory reserve was higher than that. I thought it was close to 147. I'm gonna look at that tomorrow.
Okay. Yep, I think I took this from the last end of year report, but some things came in late, so
Yeah, and I only think that just because I was working on the FY25 budget spreadsheet today, and I was putting in all the actuals, and I put that in, and that feels low, but I'll double check.
okay. No, it certainly could be. Town administrator, we had about 22,000 extra. A big chunk of that was because we had budgeted a compensation reserve that we ended up not needing. And then fire EMS had 12,000 extra. The ALS services and fire ponds again didn't require as much as we thought. So these are the largest excesses by value, or whatever that's worth. The deficits by value, there were only 3 greater than $10,000. Treasurer, we were short by about 15,000. Those were tax title expenses that were unanticipated. Legal services, we were about $17,000 short. There were a lot of unanticipated legal fees last year. And then the town buildings, we were about $40,000 short for unanticipated repairs. And I wonder going forward if something like the 46,000 excess that we had in local improvements, some of these town building repairs could have been captured there, or if we should mix those two.
I don't think you can. I don't think they can overlap.
If they're true unanticipated repairs, we can't. Okay. All right. Anyway, so and these were covered by reserve fund transfers. So that was the differences by value, and here it is by percentage. And that's the whole list. And then I'll show you the heavy hitters. So this is greater than 25%. A few of these were 100% just because we didn't use the money at all, but they were very small amounts. And most of these were small amounts, other than the 2 at the bottom, which we've already covered. And here are the deficits. Again, it's legal services, the town buildings, and then sewer was an interesting one. The deficit was about a little over $5,000, and there were some unanticipated repairs, but by a DEP that were brought to light by a DEP assessment. And so that's it. I think we hit it pretty close for FY23, and we'll see how FY24 shapes up. But some of those we may want to keep in mind as we go into the FY25 planning.
Yeah, Bob, I was just going to ask a question on that. You just made a comment. We hit it pretty close, and I know still learning here, but last year there was a lot of discussion about our targets as an advisory committee. Staying within a certain percentage target. Did we hit our target? Do we get a gold star for the advisory committee?
Yeah, we hit all of our targets in terms of free cash targets and that list that Brian used to put together for the annual town meeting. So we hit all those targets, and we will certainly keep an eye on that as we plan for FY25. So far, so good.
Good. Thanks.
Can't wait for that school to hit in FY25.
Yeah, there's always things on the horizon. Okay, any other questions or comments on that? And actually, Greg's question is a great lead into the next agenda item.
Do we have any control over the ALS? Or is that something that, like the health insurance, is just dictated and that's what we pay?
Is that the coastal medical billing? Is that the line item that was?
I think so. Isn't that the isn't that the ambulance service?
That's the billing portion. That's their fees that they take in for the billing. So it would definitely be a good question to ask the fire chief how that relates to now that we have this robust ALS service. Is, I'd like to see that budgeted a little tighter. I don't even know if that's possible. It could not be possible. It could just be the number of calls. I'm not really sure.
Okay. Yeah, we can certainly ask that question. All right. So the next topic revolves around the Bolton financial policy. So let me share my screen again. Everyone see this?
I notice it says Carlisle at the top.
It does. I think much of this may have been copied and pasted or something, but whatever. Okay, so if you're not familiar with this, this sits out, it's on the advisory committee portion of the town webpage. And this was a financial policies manual that was adopted in 2018. And, if you look through it, it just covers a bunch of responsible financial policies that we will try to adhere to. So it was issued in 2018, and as far as I can tell, has not been reviewed since then. I thought it might be worthwhile for us to go through and review these policies and then make a recommendation to either make changes if we think changes are necessary, or just say we've reviewed it and it looks good, we just want to keep it as is. If you when you read through the sort of the process for making changes, any owner entity may propose a revision to any of the policies, and it works out such that we happen to be an owner entity for all of the policies. So I think we're on solid ground here in making any suggestions if we would like to make any changes. So it turns out, here's the table of contents. There are 12 of these. So I thought what we might want to do is each of us take two, do a little research. They're pretty well documented. So within each policy, the Mass General Law is referenced, and there are some other documents referenced. So doing the research should be pretty straightforward. And then in a month or two, we could each back to this committee and sort of report out. And do we think we should make any changes, or do we think we should just leave it as is? How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay. Does anyone have a strong inclination to pick, any particular one of these that they would be interested in pursuing, or?
I do.
Okay.
I would like to take the whistleblower and investments.
Let me write this down. Whistleblower and investments. Okay, you got them. Any other strong preferences?
I'll take the top two if anyone has any strong desire for those. I'll defer, but capital planning and debt management.
Okay, you got it. I was going to suggest that maybe Don would be interested in reconciliations and disbursements. I think he's a CPA and has an accounting background. I thought that might be appropriate. Anyone else have a strong preference? If not, we can just kind of divvy them up. Okay, Craig, what do you think about forecasting and other post-employment benefits?
Sounds fine to me.
All right. And let's see. Omid, what do you think about overlay and fraud risk?
I'm good with that.
Okay, I'll summarize all this in an email to you. And let's see. Okay, and then I am left with financial reserves and revenue turnover. Okay, sounds good. So I'll again summarize that, send it out, and it'd be great to get this maybe wrapped up before we really dig into the budgeting process in January. So maybe we can shoot to be done by December. Okay. Oh, Oscar, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you probably won't have that many, if any, changes.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, unless some laws have changed or some guidance has changed, probably minor changes, if any. Okay. Okay, next up on the agenda item list was a quick discussion about meeting formats going forward. So I wanted to get some thoughts on how we want to conduct meetings, primarily when we really start the budgeting process, which is we have an initial meeting in mid-December to just review the budget, and then starting in January and going up to annual town meeting. Do we want to continue the Zoom format? Is there interest in going to on-site meetings, or in-person meetings for our discussions?
I think
For me, Zoom works the best.
I'll second that.
So I guess the genesis of my teeing this up is I feel like other than Craig, maybe none of us have been part of the advisory committee pre-COVID. And I'm not sure that, and Craig, you can weigh in and tell us how the discussions went pre-COVID versus how the discussions go now. I get the sense that we might benefit from some additional discussion or some deeper discussion. And I don't know what it was like pre-COVID.
Well, the obvious advantage to Zoom is we each have access to computerized data while we're doing the meeting, so we can either look at what you're looking at or occasionally do a little bit of research in the background. I don't feel very good when in a meeting in the meeting room there poking around on my computer. It's just, I find it to be kind of rude. But yeah, I think that's where I am. I can certainly understand the desire to have more interpersonal, interaction in person. And I certainly would show up for a meeting and all that. We have in the past had we've lost several meetings during a single season because of weather. And that would be my main concern. That said, I think we have several members that are frequently far away from Bolton and would be hard pressed to get to Bolton on Tuesday night at 6:30 or 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
I mean, does it have to be one or the other? Can we attempt a hybrid model where Or I think we asked that question last year and the infrastructure wasn't in the room to support that? Is that the answer?
Well, so it turns out we can do a hybrid meeting. It's not as slick as Zoom in that people that are not there would just call in and we would just sort of hear them on the speakerphone or whatever we're using. And so they would only be captured in the recording, you know, they would have to be heard to be captured. So, but we could do a hybrid meeting.
I assume the rules on hybrid meetings, or at least rules on call-ins, have changed during COVID, because it used to be that people could attend, but their votes would not be counted and they would not be counted in quorum when
That
they're
might still be the
dialing in.
case.
I think Don recently sent me the rules, and I think the rules are you can vote, but if you're counting the people who dial in as part of your quorum, as soon as they drop out, you may not have a quorum. Okay. Any strongly in favor of meeting in person? Hi, Don, welcome. Can you hear us? Still connecting.
Well, I mean, I'll say it again. I like the idea of face-to-face meetings when available, but if we have to have the remote capability pretty much every meeting. Otherwise, you're going to all the things that Craig just mentioned, right? Weather, travel.
Yeah.
So to me, it's either hybrid or full remote. I don't see that would be my opinion. But I do like the idea of hybrid.
I like the remote. I'm gonna my reasoning is this. Like, I was part of economy advisory committee before, and our meetings at least was short. They we had certain amount, it wouldn't go long. We would be off by like 7 o'clock. Whereas advisory, we have meetings that sometimes go till 9 o'clock. Being away from the house, from the family and stuff like that, it's putting a lot of strain on everyone, and including myself and a couple of other ones who are not always around Bolton and can attend to the thing. It will put more strain or discourage people to come to the committee. Those are the reason I'm trying to keep this as a thing. If you guys want, we can pick, as Greg said, pick one day where everyone agrees we can come in that day. But we need to know it's gonna be in a time set that we set up. So it's not gonna be one of those meetings that if people have a lot of questions, it's just gonna get extended for hours on. And then we can have one of those days. But other than that, I would like to keep it at Zoom, because I'm calling right now from my car from my daughter's soccer, because I had to do it. If it was in person, I wouldn't be able to attend it. A couple times I've called it from different states and different locations. So
okay, Don, we're discussing the pros and cons of in-person versus Zoom meetings going forward.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Yeah, I'm all for them. The convenience is tremendous if you're traveling or in your car or in the chicken coop like I just was. It makes it incredibly convenient and allows for us to focus on the issues that we have rather than traveling back and forth.
All right, so I'm not getting a strong sense that anyone has a lot of interest in meeting in person. Okay. All right, good, noted. Well, I mean, it does, impact a bunch of folks. So I think we'll just keep doing what we've been doing.
Maybe at the end have a little celebratory something, like you've passed the budget.
Yeah, that's right. We can get together for drinks. Maybe
There you go.
for that.
I am all for that.
Yeah, there we go.
Lunch at Slater's.
Right.
Hey, Bob, by the way, just to clear up something maybe Omid, you said, when I say hybrid, I don't mean hybrid like pick a day, we all go in, pick a day, we're all remote. I mean, every meeting is hybrid. So if someone's calling in, someone's face to face together in the same meeting. As we look forward in time, is there a way to ask I don't know who owns it, but the building itself to propose a upgrade to the technical infrastructure so that we can make it more attractive for people to come in, and also offer and continue to offer the remote capability at every meeting?
Jenny, you got this, right?
I do.
Uh-oh.
Well, stay tuned. This is actually being discussed at this Thursday select board meeting. So if you're interested in the topic, you might want to jump on. There is some cost involved in equipping the building or buildings with the proper equipment to make it possible to have a true hybrid. And we also have to consider that there is an end date to the lifting of some of the requirements for open meeting law. So to make an investment, we would just have to consider how long will we be able to use those items for.
Do you know what the current end date is?
With the current end date, oh gosh, Nanochka, do you remember? Is it
I think it's
A-
2025.
April of 2025 or something?
Yeah, I was gonna say April or May.
Yeah.
What I think.
Thanks.
Is there any thing in the pipeline to change the general laws, meeting laws, to add like digital?
I do believe that there's a group that's working on that, but I couldn't predict if they're gonna be successful or not.
Is our town doing anything about it? I feel like we have had a lot more people involved in it since we've gone to Zoom than before that.
It's
I-
at the state level.
Yeah, I don't know if any local residents are involved in that.
Yeah, if the state says
Probably.
remote is over, remote is over.
Yeah.
So who talks, this is my question, who talks, like, say, like, all the committees in Bolton agree that, hey, Zoom's working great for us, or a hybrid solution works for us better than in person. Who brings that message to our representative, to the state, or the, how does it go up? Through what
Yep.
chain?
I actually think that, I don't recall if it was Don or if it was the select board. But I do think we did join in the messaging to possibly to Kate, Representative Hogan, that we feel that the participation in town has improved with remote accessibility to public meetings.
So the Mass Municipal Association is for it, and they're kind of the, I don't know what you call it, professional organization that has the legislative arm. if you will.
Float. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so stay tuned.
Mhm.
All right, so last item on our agenda is just a general committee business, and Bill sent out 3 sets of minutes that we can review and approve. Bill, thanks for putting those together and sending them out. So I'll just pull them up real quick here. Let me see. Okay, so this is May 23rd. Okay, any comments on this, or anyone see anything out of order? If not, is there a motion to approve these?
I move we approve those minutes.
I second that.
Okay. Roll call, Bill,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye. Did
Aye.
we lose Bob?
Did we lose Bob?
We're still viewing his
Did you
screen.
get Zoom bomb?
I think he's cut off. He-
Right, middle of roll call.
Hopefully we'll be right back. Yeah, it's all black, so. There you are.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. We were just talking about the benefits of Zoom versus in person. All right, let me share that again. Let's see. Okay, where were we? I think we had an eye from Bill, and I forget where we were on the list. So let's just start again. Bill,
Aye.
Greg.
Aye.
Don,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Omid,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Okay. That was May 23rd. Minutes from, let's see, July 11th. Bunch of transfer requests. All right, is there a motion to approve these?
I move we approve those minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call. Omid,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Don,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. And the last set. July 13th, very short and sweet. There a motion to approve?
I move we approve the
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor. Omid,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Greg and Craig both said aye. Okay, good. Don,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Okay. Anybody have any other business to discuss? All right. Thanks for joining tonight. If there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, great. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good night, everyone.
Take
You-
care.
Aye.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.